Xano works on a tabular database system. That means that the fields are largely known in advance. There's some weird exceptions to the way this works under the covers, but largely we can say that, like this particular table called branch would have these, 5 fields or whatever. And in order for us to make changes to our code, like we want to be making changes to the columns, we would be exposed in a couple ways, right? The first is when we get data out, and the second is when we're putting data into the table. And if we remove a column, we create the risk that we're going to be attempting to make modifications where we're depending on changing one of these fields. So the idea here is, how can we figure out what dependencies we have, not just between the table and a function, but actually between given fields in the table and the functions that might be making changes to them. This allows us to make changes to our tables much more easily later on than otherwise might be the case, where like particularly we can have tables that are going to have all sorts of dependencies going down the way. So we have an additional function here for people who are on the Pro plan for the finding the modifying functions. And so the idea is, if I have a table like branch here, I can say I want to go find the modifying functions in branch for the field, workspace ID. And it'll tell me about every place I've modified workspace ID, right? Which is to say in these 2 steps of this particular function. And now if I wanted to go open that in a new tab, I would be able to find out that this particular function call uses these particular, making edits, right, to these, this add record and this edit record right down here, right? If I were to click in, and if I wanted it to no longer worry about workspace ID for whatever reason, I could just say, all right, we'll turn that off, we'll save that, and we'll publish that, so we'll make sure we're looking at the right version of it. And then, if I want to, I can reanalyze, and it'll tell me that only one of the fields is still actually making a modification. This allows me to keep track as I am trying to remove a dependency on a given field as I go throughout the rest of my function stack, which then can lead me to, all right, now it's safe for me to remove that field from my particular table. Now, there are more complexities that you might find there's still a little bit of friction when you're removing those tables. You still want to do it with some caution. But hopefully this functionality can make you go much, much faster in finding where your dependencies are to be able to make those changes that can otherwise be very painful as we're altering the structure of our tables to accommodate the lessons that we've learned, because we all know you will build this again. I hope you find this helpful, and let me know in the comments, what else you're trying to do with modifying your tables and modifying your database structure in Xano, and where your sticking points are, and we can be, looking into making those things work either in the context of the extension or more broadly with state change office hours in our forum.